Day 120, not 119, not 118. Though it does feel like day 400. Very overcast again today. A lot of rain last night. A couple of masons are here. We've got 3 masons today. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 masons. 1, 2, 3, 4 labourers. A little bit of a rut going on about where we got to be. My site manager drilling it, which is good. I'm sure I'll have to clarify what's going on out there in a minute. Workmanship not going on here at all, but we are planning to do that next week. Let's get up on that slab and have a quick look. Cement mix has been moved. As it was over here. We need to clear this whole area up. But we also need to leave this bit empty as well, because this is where the steps are going to come out. There's a landing here, and then there's going to be steps coming down here to this footing. That will be the entrance from the house into the garage. Garage floor, as I've always said, where the blocks sort of change colour there, that's roughly where the garage floor is going to be, and then the steps come down to that footing. This is obviously just the footings for the toilet upstairs. So it looks like they're actually going to start doing the side return, which is the foyer, internal and external wall. So it looks like Beckles, my man Beckles, he's got the batter board in at the moment, and it looks like he's pulling, making sure that this guy is a good mason. Just making sure that he gets a straight line through to the electrical room. It looks like they've laid a couple of blocks down, maybe as a template, just to make sure they get the doorway and everything clear. I can't leave those on there because that's just wood. They want to leave that formwork on the steps just so it protects the actual concrete steps themselves. The masons asked me what I thought of their job last night. You know, what do you think now that it's obviously not pissed? Well, I'm a lot happier, obviously. Hopefully they can continue straight walls. I'm under the impression when they get to 4 blocks like they are now, they'll pour with concrete now. They are also meant to use like a wire mesh, I think they call it. God, what do they bloody call it? It's basically a concrete reinforcement, so I think it's like a joint reinforcement. In England we use like a mesh. Here they use like it looks like a ladder made of wire. So it will literally go right across here to here and so on, and then it'll go up another core. So pour concrete first, stick in this sort of the wire ladder, and then go down a little bit more. So it's technically a solid block wall without pouring concrete. Obviously the US etc. is going down the route of formwork and poured walls, but they don't tend to do that here for some reason. We're obviously going to have to tidy up down here at some stage, because this is where the drainage is going to have to go. I don't know when that is likely to happen. We have to work out at the moment which one of these here at the moment is going to move. This pipe in the middle here, I think, is a vent pipe for the bathroom. So it's a vent pipe, but it's also to enable obviously air, the system to be able to breathe. So I also need to ask him about that batter ball. That batter ball is not actually on the wall. Anyway, so yeah, pour concrete, nice and solid, cabled ladder, whatever they call it here. We call it joint reinforcement. And then off the back of that, more blocks. So we've got 1,200 in. I think we're probably going to need around about 2,000. So need to make sure that formwork goes back down. Due to the rain and wind last night, I thought I'd have a quick check, but it looks okay. A couple of damp spots, obviously. You can see where the actual the spots themselves aren't as level as they should be, because obviously that's where the water settles. And they need to get that bloody formwork back as well. I've asked them to make sure there's formwork there so they don't scratch the floors. They just seem to ignore me. So got it all around here, but it stops there. So let's get more formwork. Oh, they've moved. That's probably why they've moved it over to there. So they're going to leave here, move the formwork over. Let's just get more up. Make sure the guys get more up here today, because without being rude, they'll go back there at some stage and then they'll forget. So we need to pull the lines back out again later on today. Make sure that's all okay. As you can see here, Beckles is actually lining out where the door entrances, etc. are going to go. They do that, unfortunately, by putting nails into the floor. So I'll help him with that in a second. This is the electric room. Next door to it is a pantry. The pantry goes level with the electric room, and then after the electric room, we've actually got the laundry. Morning, Beckles. We then have the laundry room after that. So the wall itself, as you can see, has now been drawn out. Goes straight forward to these pipes here. Block wall goes that way. There's a linen cupboard between those two pipes going to about here, and then there's a doorway into the first bedroom. This is a block wall going that way with a hallway behind it to all of the bedrooms. And that lands up having the kitchen units backing onto that. So there's a block wall supporting the roof, kitchen cupboards this way, and it backs onto a hallway on the other side. So the main contractor is still very positive about trying to get the house up and with a lid on, with the windows in, within 3 weeks. So it's gone from 2 to 3, but I think a little bit more realistic being 3. Obviously, once we've done that, then we can concentrate on getting the cottage up as well, annex, whatever you want to call it. Again, same thing, that's just block walls all the way around, patio, 6-foot patio doors here, window here, door here, window on the side, bathroom in the corner, kitchenette on the wall here now, window here, bedroom. So this will have to be a suspended floor because this is where the water tanks are going. It's just to ensure that if anything goes wrong with the water tanks, then we can obviously get the water tanks out. It does mean pulling the whole floor up, but easier to pull up a wooden floor than a concrete floor. Nothing happening on the pool at the moment. Obviously, we just need to get the pool man out to start cutting the drainages in. So we need to today probably remove this formwork. As you can see, my biggest concern with the formwork is that this patio is too low. I mean, one thing we should have taken into the equation is that if you're going to have a run here and you're going to have a run here, then by the time you get to here, this has to have a run as well. So this run potentially is slightly there, but it means we've come down far too low here. So I don't know what we're going to do at the moment. I still need to get a spirit level on that today to make sure I can look at whether it is running or not. To me, it looks like it's straight up the top, but then it sort of runs down towards this corner. It's all meant to be exactly the same running all the way through, which, as you know, we've discussed that and covered it. It was completely balls down. Rebar guys, got to talk to them today about what we're going to do with this. As you can see, we're meant to be forward by about, well, the draw lines there, by about 3 inches, 2 inches, 3 inches, which does mean also that we'll probably have to lose the 2 rear bars here. Or do we just make it bigger? Do we just add on the front? And the downside to that is that this wall here has to line up with the wall over the other side, and this finish here is meant to line up with the other wall on the other side. So if we don't get it centralised, then it's not going to line up. Most people won't notice it, but trust me, if you know me, I certainly will. So anyway, so that's the same thing also here with the doorway into the living room. We're also trying to work out where the door frame goes. I need to have a chat with them about that in a moment because I'm having a few thoughts about what to do here. So before they lay blocks, it'd be good to set that out and help out with that. So lots more to do today. I need to meet the contractor as well to talk about the next plan for the next 2 to 4 weeks. We've technically only got, well, we're only meant to actually have 4 weeks left, but we've obviously overrun by 2 to 4 weeks, maybe 5. So we need to get a proper plan together and try and work out whether it is going to continue like that or not. And then we'll have a clearer picture. So at the moment, blocks, setting out. Hopefully it doesn't rain, that's for sure. 3:45 Friday afternoon. Not been in touch a lot because I've been busy having meetings with people about where we're going and what we're doing. So I thought I'd show you a quick update on where we are finishing the day. Although it's 3:45 in Barbados, people get paid and have to get to the bank, so they tend to finish around about 3:30 for some bizarre reason. But anyway, I'll show you what's actually taken place today. Some good, some bad. So obviously we've been trying to mark out all the lines on what things need to take place and not take place. I explained that this column was put too far into the house. It needs to be more forward. So this line here is the 16-inch line of the support wall that's going to be right at the far end, and the front of this needs to be level. So I asked them to, they call it crank. They use this big bar behind to crank the bars over where they need to be. I asked all 3 bars to be taken over by minimum 2 to 3 inches, but instead they've actually made them go forward. So we're now in front of the actual line. So they've now got to be cranked back to where they should have been and cranked back to this side. So as you can see, this line here, this pencil line, we need to have a minimum 3 inches between the outer wall and the inner wall on all sides. So as you can see now where the line is, we're now very, very close to that one, which needs to be cranked in. It needs to be cranked backwards here. And these ones could do with it being straightened up a little bit more. And then we're going to have to try and crank the back ones forward. There's nothing we can do with this. This is as is. There's nothing we can do. It's going to have to stay where it is. Downstairs, there's blocks here, there's blocks here, there's blocks here, there's blocks here, and there's blocks here, and we have to go back up on those blocks for support. If we come away from those blocks, then downstairs we have to block more up. But as you can see, this is where we are actually meant to be. And this is where we actually are, which also means on this side, we are actually past the line where we're meant to be. So we're going to have no choice but to leave that one where it is and box it and potentially make up the extra in some form of boxing, which we might do, just to try and get this gap here the same. And then obviously that will then play a part on whether the actual door is going to be in the middle over here or not, and on what that middle actually means. So around the property, we've actually got the front walls now up to 4 courses. At 4 courses, you pour concrete down the bores, and then you put a thing called, they call it brick force here. So it's concrete reinforcement that goes on like it's like a wire ladder, and then they concrete over the top of that, and that just helps give the wall extra support. And because we're going 14 feet, you definitely need to be putting that ideally every 2 blocks, but they're saying 4. We've got the inner foyer walls 4 inches up as well, and the toilet on the house has got some blocks up as well. Tomorrow we're going to have to physically isolate these out, start getting the blocks laid here. Then there's a recess. There's a 12-inch wall that goes out 5'4" to here, and then there is a 2-course 16-inch block wall that goes from here all the way along to here, which is 11 feet long, and that is one of the main support walls for upstairs. And it also houses the curtain wall, pocket wall for the doors. So all the doors will slide 30 feet down here and come into a pocket that will be finished off with they call it a dry wall here, but obviously like a suspended 4x2, 2x4, and you'll call it as wall on the inside. And that is meant to line up, the inner skin of that wall is meant to line up with the back of that pillar, which as we now know is not going to. They could have started on the walls here. This is a supporting wall. So from here, all the way through here, through the kitchen, back of the kitchen, to this rebar here, that is a block wall. Then we have a doorway, and then we've got more block wall from here, where these lines are. Block wall from here all the way down to here, where this line is here. Then we have a 4-foot doorway. Then we've got block all the way along to here. And then there's a doorway into the bedroom here. And apart from that, they're the only block walls that are on the main house floor. The rest of it is all going to be drywall partition walls. So this is the ensuite wardrobe area. So again, suspended walls all the way around here. All of it's suspended, all of it's drywall walls. So in England, that's 4x2s, made into a frame, plasterboard and plastered. That's what we're going to be doing inside the whole interior. So we've got a 40-foot span roof that's going to be coming across, and it's going to be hitting on top of this block wall here and going straight to the front. And when we get to here, this beam will go all the way to the ceiling, which is obviously 12.5 feet. But then there will be a beam going from here, made into a concrete lintel, all the way along to the 11-foot, 16-inch wall, and the same on the other side. Same on this side as well. There's bifolds all along here as we discussed. So the same thing, 8 foot, there'll be a rebarred beam put all the way across to the end. They're all then tied in. So across the whole thing, across 8 foot, all the way around this building, there's going to be a rebarred beam all tied into each other, holding the whole building together. And that will be boxed up and poured. And then we'll put whatever roof finish on there we select. At the moment, it's meant to be concrete. It's not been priced or quoted for. It's meant to be timber, but I just don't see how they're going to do timber that's going to be cost effective with a span like that. You know, you're talking, I don't know, 12x3s, 8x3s, whatever it's going to be across a 40-foot span. It's going to be a lot of timber. And even then, you'll have to sort of make it into a truss as well, even at that size. So I just don't see how it's going to work. So anyway, we've got to talk about what that's going to be, because we're going to have to start the wheels in motion on ordering the materials and starting that, because we're hoping to have that started in 2 weeks' time. So that's something we definitely need to focus on, that's for sure. Other than that, what else? The swimming pool obviously is going to have some work done on it. One thing we did spot today, which is a real pain in the arse, Again, when you pour concrete, and certainly if you're trying to float drainage, most drainage is hollow, obviously, and full of air, so it floats. So our pool shower, the trap floated. So we now have a raised trap. So we've now got to consider either putting a square slab down here that you stand on underneath the shower, or bashing that down and going over it and potentially having the shower water go down the run into the back gutter. Again, all the formwork has been removed, but we've still got to take out these 4x2s, 2x4s, whatever you call it, and any form of support function that was helping it stay in place, which didn't do a great job. So they all need to be cut back as well. And then we really need to just get some labourers in here just to get this bloody swept out. There's just crap everywhere. Most construction sites are the same, but I just don't like that. We just need to get to the point where we're working with a blank canvas. Everything that doesn't need to be here, gone, get rid. And then you're literally working with the basics you need, not clutter. And on top of that, as I've always discussed, things like bits of screw, it just rusts. So on a polished concrete floor, you leave stuff around, it just rusts. So you need to get rid. And obviously galvanised stuff's not too bad, but they don't do a lot of galvanised. But you get screws and rebar wire and all that sort of stuff. It all lands up corroding and leaving rust stains on the floor that never come off. So yeah, that's pretty much where we are on a Friday. Not as far forward as we thought we were going to be. We are potentially trying to aim to get between 6 and 10 bricklayers for this weekend, but I'm not too sure if that is going to happen or not. We definitely need it, that's for sure. So fingers crossed they will pull it out the bag and get that done. And then we just need to put some administration tasks in, like pulling out the actual door tracks, cutting back where they need to block, marking out the lines, and setting them some clear goals tomorrow, because we definitely need that as soon as possible. And then it will start taking shape. But yeah, we need, literally, as you can see, the weather's been bad for 2 days now. We need to get the roof on. If we don't get the roof on, then obviously it's just going to keep getting worse. So the basement, we've actually got the tarpaulin pot over the top. But it only takes a heavy rain. You can see where it is now. A little bit heavy rain, and you start getting this. So I need to go downstairs in a minute and try and get that propped up to make sure the water doesn't settle. You just don't want any more water down there if you can help it, that's for sure, because it needs time to dry out. But with rainy season, October and November being quite horrendous here as well, you can sometimes get a good sort of 10, 12, 15 inches of water. So if that happens whilst we're putting the roof on, we could be in a situation where we're getting humidifiers downstairs. And as it is, the water down there's been there for a while, both through keeping concrete cool, bad weather, and a bit of mixture of all, really. So we ideally need to try and get some form of humidifier down there anyway, especially when we start putting the slab on and the heat and the wind and the air stops getting down there. So anyway, that's where we are so far. Tomorrow, different day, obviously, different plan. Hopefully we're going to get more planned. My supervisor, Wayne, bless him, he's working out really well. He's trying to hold the guys accountable and trying to make sure they don't do stupid things. He's ruffled a few feathers today, but for the right reasons. Certainly when a mason starts doing a pissed wall, fair play to him. We need more people on site with attitudes like that all want to do the things right. That's nowadays, doing things right is becoming rare. So you need people like that, and you need to embrace them at all times. So anyway, tomorrow's another day, and we'll see how many tradespeople come and what we actually end up doing tomorrow, and that's for sure. Hopefully it's going to be a good weekend. Have a great Friday.